I found a guitar line that is a true hidden gem. They're making high quality guitars at a good price for a large player base hidden in plain sight. I got to play one, and today I've got to tell you about it. With Beast Made Reviews, of course, a channel dedicated to reviewing quality at different price points. Now, if you follow my channel, and especially my guitar videos, you've probably heard me talk about me playing at my church. I play at my church every week, and currently I go to South Coast Church in Mobile, Alabama, so if you ever want to meet me, come see me on Sunday. I recently found this guitar line making really cool looking guitars, but they were marketed towards worship guitar players. Needless to say, I was intrigued. They loaned me one of the more popular guitars, and today I'm going to show it to you. The brand is Citizen Guitars, and their guitar is the C1. So I'm going to review it and play mostly worship songs. A lot of reverb. And before we get into it, if you like this type of content, if you like guitars, gear, fashion, anything cool, high quality, I think you really like it here. Why don't you consider subscribing down below? And if you like this guitar, I'll have a link down below to Citizen Guitars, and that is an affiliate link. Anytime you buy through that, it will help out the channel, and I always appreciate that. Thank you so much. Now, Citizen Guitars was started by the owners Jeff Lee and his wife Christine Lee in 2019. Jeff has been in the guitar industry for over 20 years and has been making guitars for Grammy and Dove award-winning musicians. And there is some connection there with Halo Guitars, which is another brand with a similar idea but more of a metal style focus there. I'm not exactly sure what the relationship is, but I know Jeff Lee has some connection there. Now, as a musician who plays guitar at my church, I've played a number of instruments, and I found that all of them work for different reasons. So when I heard about this guitar line, I was intrigued, and I was also a little bit skeptical at the same time. So let's get straight to it. Let's get to some of the specs of this guitar. Now, this has an alder body. It has an offset design with forearm and belly carves. Of course, this color is in white with a tortoiseshell pickguard. The neck is roasted maple. Fretboard is ebony. It has block mother of pearl inlays, a 12-inch radius. It has 22 frets, 25-inch scale. It's a bolt-on neck with a medium C shape. It has a bone nut that is 43 millimeters in width. It has Godot tuners. It has lumen lay side markers, Citizen branded Duesenberg trim, USA made in-house humbuckers, USA made electronics, push-pull coil split, and a treble bleed on the volume knob. This one has a hard shell case. It has a lifetime warranty. It's made at the Citizen factory in China, finished and set up in Cupertino, California in the USA. I love it when a company has all the information on their website. Great job to them. All right, now let's get to some things I love about this guitar. First, the aesthetics. I love the way this looks. This has such a cool look to the guitar. Now, looks aren't everything, but the more experience that I get in life in general, I just realize that there is a certain value to aesthetics. Sure, you can marry someone who is a great person, and maybe you don't think they're the most attractive person in the world, but they're a great person. However, if you had the choice, I'm sure you would take both options, the great person and someone you feel attracted to. I think that personally is the case with guitars. I love a good guitar, but I want a guitar to look nice for me. And given that we are living in the golden age of guitar making, I think this is not unreasonable. I think you can have a guitar that is a great guitar that you also think is beautiful, or at least something that you want to play, something that you want to reach for. It doesn't have to be a dog. This guitar just looks cool, plain and simple. It just has a cool look and vibe to it. I love that it has almost a kind of squished Les Paul look to it with a kind of offset feel. It almost looks like a guitar that maybe a cartoon artist would draw if they've never played an instrument before. It has that kind of look to it, and I love that. It has a Les Paul meets an offset meets a Fender. I love the block inlays, super cool addition there. The tortoise shell guard, very classy. The loom inlays on the side. Why don't more guitars have loom inlays? That is super helpful for me. I dig it. It's cool. Next thing I love here is the quality. The quality really surprised me here. I went in with an open mind and I looked over everything here and I could not find a flaw on this guitar. Really shocked by that, actually. The finish is perfect. The neck is perfect. It feels great. All the hardware is great. And the case on this is also great. Great quality hard shell case. I half expected the quality to be all over the place, but looking over every inch of this, I was proven wrong, and I'm really thrilled about this. I would stack this up with almost any Paul Reed Smith guitar that I've ever played, and that's high praise. Great quality control here. Fantastic. Next thing I love about this is the feel. And this one, again, surprised me. I love the neck. The neck feels fantastic. That roasted maple with the kind of unfinished satin finish on the back there is buttery smooth. Just playing it is wonderful. Has a very smooth texture to it. The fretboard is also very nice and smooth. No hard edges on the fretboard. The frets were polished really nicely with no fret sprout or any sharp frets. The action is perfect with no buzzing. And I didn't weigh it to see how much it weighed, but it did feel like a good weight for the guitar. Not super heavy and not ultra light, but a good weight to it. And it was also very balanced. It felt balanced when putting it on your lap, on your leg, and also balanced when playing it with a strap on as well. No neck dive, just a good balance, feel, and weight. The vibrato also felt really smooth. The pots were nice and smooth. And the scale on this was a 25-inch scale. And I didn't even know that until writing this review. I wasn't even aware of that. But that explains why it did feel very nice. The tension had a little bit looser feel than a normal 25.5-inch scale. And bending notes felt great. Just overall a great feeling instrument. Next was the sound. Now I asked the owner if I could play this live a couple of times and really get to test it in a church environment to see how it stacked up, especially compared to my guitars that I'm used to. He agreed, and so I got to really play this a few times, and I thought it sounded great. The pickups on this I thought were very good. Now these are the USA-made pickups, which were a newer addition when I first got this guitar, and I think they sound pretty good. And I don't really know many details about these pickups other than that they're just made in the USA, but I would describe these as a medium output PAF style pickup. Not too hot and not super low output too, so I like that a lot. Both of them are balanced as far as the volume goes, so you're not going to have a volume dip if you go from one to the other, which is great. The bridge had a nice brightness to it while also being balanced. It wasn't too shrill, there wasn't too much harshness in the highs. It sat perfectly in the mix, exactly where I wanted it to. Really like that a lot. The neck, I'm a little bit more picky about, so that one sounded a little bit more on the woofy side than I would like. I still think that it sounded good. It's not the worst neck pickup that I've ever tried, but it's a little bit warmer and maybe a little bit more mid-rangey and bass focused than I was expecting and that I would really want. I would probably switch that out if I had to. The pickups also split really well. The songs that were on the set list for those Sundays actually had a couple of songs where I needed to split the coils, and I thought they did a great job for that. I like the way that split coils sound generally. They have their own sound. I don't think that they sound exactly like a single coil does. I don't need it to, but I like the sound that it has. And these split really nice. It has a great sound. In some ways, I think this guitar sounds even better than some of the super nice guitars that I've played in recent years. This had just a good sound, perfect for worship music. Next, let's talk about the options here. Now, this is not the only guitar that Citizen Guitars makes, as I mentioned. They have a few other guitars. They have some that are already made that you can just buy straight away, or you can specialize the guitars and get different options in there. Some of their other models look a little bit more like the traditional style guitars that you're used to. So if you don't want something that looks like a cartoon like this one, you could get something that looks a little bit more traditional. They also have custom builds as well, and they have a great website UI that allows you to see a mock-up of the version of the guitar that you want to build. I think that's a great feature. I really like that. I know a lot of guitar websites that do this have that similar style of mock-up. Citizen Guitars does it really well, and seeing all the options on the guitar I think really works here. I tried it a few times, just seeing all the options that you could make, and it was just really fun to look around. I like that a lot. Next, let's talk about the price. Now, I don't always mention the price when I talk about the products on this channel. It might change a week, a month, or a year from now, but I wanted to point this out in this case because I think the price, at least for the base model, is excellent. The current price for it right now is $12.99, of course, subject to change, but for the base model as it is now, that's a fantastic deal for a guitar of this quality. Now, the model that I have currently is not $12.99. I got all the upgrades on it, so I got the hardshell case, the USA made electronics, Gotoh locking tuners. The current price for this model here was $1,928, which is not as attractive. But if we're talking about the base model, there's kind of two ways of thinking about it. You could think of it as an inexpensive, high-quality guitar, or you could think of it as an expensive Chinese-made guitar. I think both points are valid, but for me, I really consider this an inexpensive, high-quality guitar. I don't really see the Chinese thing as important for me personally. Now let's talk about a few cons here, and I do have a few. Some of them I've already touched on a little bit. The first one is the upper bout. Now the upper bout is a little bit wonky, and as you play up the neck, like I did on Sundays actually, it's not as comfortable. Your thumb wants to hit that upper bout, and you kind of have to reach around the block. It's just a little bit uncomfortable and not really fun to use. I thought it wouldn't really matter that much because the upper bout kind of curves in, but it still gets in the way. It's just uncomfortable and cramped. The next con here is kind of a nitpick, and that's just that the marketing of this brand kind of limits the exposure that it might get to a broader audience. Now, they're marketing this, of course, to a worship guitar player base. Totally get that, and I think that as far as it goes for that style of music, these work great. However, the guitars are just guitars. They're just really high quality guitars. They're made well. I think anyone could play this anywhere. I think you could play this in a church. You could play this at a gig anywhere you want to. You could play this in your living room and it would be great. But these guitars are so good that it doesn't have to be just for worship music. I think a lot of people would really dig this. My next con here is the pickup balance, the tonal balance. Though I really like the pickups in general, the tonal balance, especially of that neck, doesn't make sense for worship music, in my opinion. As someone who really switches between a lot of the pickup selections on my guitar every week for different songs or even in the song itself for different positions, I really want something that is very versatile for these songs. That neck pickup could be better. The times that I was playing it, I felt like I couldn't switch it to the neck. I just had to leave it in the middle position or the bridge position to play. And the last con here is just the price. Now, the normal price, baseline price, is very attractive for what you get. But when you upgrade everything to the USA made electronics, all the premium stuff, then it becomes less appealing. Then you're talking about a $700 increase in price. That's a whole other guitar. And then you have a lot more competition with a lot bigger companies offering a lot of product and value there, like PRS. Their S2 line, made in the USA, is around that price. If I'm looking at the two and thinking about what I'm going to get, I don't know what I'm going to choose here. Overall, though, I have been very impressed by this line. This is such a cool guitar with a lot of mojo. The sound is great, the feel is fantastic, and the quality is spectacular. The price is very good for what you get, depending on what you get, but the overall experience has been wonderful. And as someone who is in this market for this style of guitar, it really spoke to me a lot. I would love to revisit this line, maybe try more guitars in this line, maybe even try a custom build at some point. We will see, but I really want to try more from Citizen Guitars. These are fantastic guitars. God bless Jeff Lee and his wife and Citizen Guitars. They are literally doing the Lord's work. Just heavenly guitars. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. I'm Dave with Beastmade Reviews. Bye.